Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to another action-packed Tuesday night. We are bringing you the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercars Championship, as always, on a Tuesday evening. Glad to have you with us. This is round 5 and coming to you tonight from the legendary Virginia International Raceway. This was, of course, originally scheduled as round 10, but we've shuffled the deck and brought this technical roller coaster forward in our calendar, and I am sure it's going to mix things up in the championship battle. Tonight, it is great to have a new face in the booth with me. My name is Jared Cole, and I'm joined this evening by Ryan Palmer. Ryan, mate, it's VAR. It's no stranger to drama, is it? It opened way back in 1957. It closed in the 70s. It was resurrected in 2000, and it's really a bit of a favourite for drivers and fans alike. And 17 corners over just over 5 kilometres. It's some refer to it as a bit of a technical masterpiece. I'm really keen to get your thoughts first and foremost. Welcome aboard, and welcome to the booth.
No, it's good. It's good to be here for Alliance Sim Racing here for round 5 at VIR. My first round here, obviously, my fellow friend in Josh Harris can't join us tonight. No, VIR is definitely an interesting circuit. The S is up the back. Not only that, the first sector too. It's hard enough as it is, let alone with a supercar that's not really a favourite of the whole left-right change of shift of weight distribution. So it's going to be very interesting here at VIR. You know, it's a very, very cool day, clear, not much wind around, so these guys should be putting in some pretty quick laps. I haven't done many laps around here in the supercar, but as far as I'm aware, from what I could see, it seems like it's going to be a pretty quick 2 races here.
Yeah, no doubt. And of course, the race format this evening: race 1, 11 laps, race 2, 25, so a little more than double the distance. Race 2 also brings the almost traditional now for Alliance Sim Racing 2 compulsory pit stops, a reverse top 5 grid as well, and a 50% fuel limit in both races. So race 1 shouldn't trouble the drivers too much in that respect, I'm sure, but it will be interesting to see how the pit strategies play out tonight. We certainly saw that come into its own last week at Donington, and thankfully no rain around this evening. The wet tyres, a certain controversy if it was to come back again this season, but we'll have to wait and see what's in store for us with Alliance Sim Racing. We have a couple of things that stand out this evening, and we'll get into that. But let's take a look at the championship standings just before we go and check out a little bit of the lone qualifying action. And right now, Matt Vanderkrant and Jamie Dyke are neck and neck in the championship, only 4 points separating them, which, when you consider that we've got something like 300 odd points each round, there's really not a lot in it at the top end. Jamie McKnight not far behind either at 968, and then a host of names that have been putting in some stellar performances all season. Mark Poynton, Brian Minogan, Dean Logsdale right there, as well as Damien Cairns and Jason Spriggs. David Coleman still in the top 10, and Anthony Weismer, look, sitting in 10th, but don't forget that he has actually missed one of the rounds so far, so we'll have to see as and when the drop rounds are calculated as we get through this season a little further, just how much he might be able to jump back up the board. But look, Ryan, there's a couple of names that you're familiar with, obviously having raced with them before. Anyone you're going to have your eye on tonight in particular?
Yeah, well, I have raced with a couple of names here. Obviously, Jamie Dyke, David Coleman. They are quick in a supercar. I will give him that. I have heard of Matt Vanderkrant up top there. He's obviously quick because he's sitting at the top of the leaderboard. But David Coleman is definitely one that can pull a magic strategy out of the hat there. So, you know, with the two pit stops there. You know, with these supercars, you've probably seen for yourself, that undercut can be pretty considerable if you do it correctly. But if you get stuck in traffic, that undercut basically goes out the window. So 50% fuel cap as well. That's roughly about 55 litres or so. Granted, these things have a pretty big fuel tank of 110. So going to be very interesting on the strategy on how they're going to play it. Especially 25 laps, like that doesn't really leave big, kind of a big window. But yeah, I'm definitely going towards obviously David Coleman, Jamie Dyke, or as you said, Anthony Weismer there down in 10th spot. Yeah, missing around puts him down that far. That's very very hard. But as you said, drop rounds come into play, and that can really shake up the points. And it's, you know, until they come in, it's really anyone's championship.
Absolutely, it is. Let's go down and check out some of the qualifying action. Drivers have about 5 minutes left, so we may as well try and catch a little bit of it and see how everyone is lining up. And let's start with the championship leader, with Matt van der Kraan, who is out on track right now, yet to actually set a time. But we will see how it's looking at the moment. Dean Logsdale topping the leaderboard, and Dean has really found his form this season, and it's great to see that continuing here. If you are a little bit of an eagle-eyed viewer, let's say, something to keep an eye on is a new name joining us this evening. He was wanting to race the entire season, hasn't had a chance to due to some real-world issues, but Scott Gamble is actually in the field this evening, I am told. Hasn't come out on track yet for qualifying. I'm not sure what his plan is there, whether he is looking to start from the back and just enjoy a drive up through the field or what, but keep your eye on him because we know he is very, very quick, as we see Van der Kraan coming around to set what should be his first time at 148.318. The time to beat a 147.974 straight to the top of the board. And look, Brian, congratulations. You've just seen what we're all very used to seeing here at Alliance Sim Racing, is Matt van der Kraan walking out onto the track, putting in one solid lap and packing it in for qualifying, because he usually finds himself up in those couple front rows.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, that's kind of really all you need. If you're definitely positive on that lap, which by the looks of it there, he's just under a tenth, sorry, just over a tenth faster than John Latham, who's actually just put in a very good time there of 48.0. But yeah, 4 tenths clear of Dean Logsdale in third, and then 7 tenths in front of Wayne Walker in fourth. So, even then being there, he's done a fantastic job there. But while we're on looking here with Wayne, that's an absolutely outstanding livery. I'm really liking that one there. Anzac Appeal. Obviously, we have Anzac Day coming up this Friday. That looks very good. I'm a fan of that.
And a little bit of trivia there that I caught on the way past. If I'm not mistaken, looks as though Damien Cairns, one of the other entries here this evening, may have himself a little bit of service history, if I'm not mistaken. I saw a bit of a mention there, so we'll have to see if we get a chance to chat to him tonight and ask him a little bit about it, maybe. But we take a look now at David Coleman, who's looking to set his lap. He's seen the times that have been posted so far, so he'll be looking to better that if he can. Only a few minutes left. Just a little under 2 minutes, in fact, for these guys to actually set their qualifying laps. Anthony Weismer is out there as well, just a little bit further up the road on his lone lap than David Coleman. So these guys looking to set their times almost at the same time. We'll see where they drop in to the standings. Looks like Coleman's going to be a little further back in the standings perhaps for a start, but Anthony Weismer up into 5th. David Coleman will be starting on 9th. So a solid start for him. Mark Poynton, one of the real superstars from Donington Park last week, drove an incredible couple of races. He's just looking to set his first time now, so leaving it till pretty late in the session. So hopefully he can get around. He's got about 30 seconds left in this lap, which will be just enough in the 1 minute remaining of qualifying for him to actually set a time and see where he starts on the grid this evening. Notably, Scott Gamble, Damon Fisher, Simon Farrington not having set times or actually come out on track yet by the look of things. So we will have to see if they do join in. G'day to Nicholas in the chat. Lovely to have you back, my friend. And Jim Caparonis not here tonight. Tell you what, Jim, we are missing you, mate. You're usually putting in some pretty solid times this season, so I'm going to have to look out for someone else. Shame you're not here, but I hope you do enjoy the coverage. As Poynton goes across the line and sets a 148.5. That'll be enough to bump Anthony Weismer and set him up in 5th. So we will wait for the final few seconds of qualifying to tick away, and we'll be ready to bring you the grid for race number 1, 11-lap sprint. I don't know if you've seen anything quite this short before in Supercars, Ryan, but I can assure you, you are in for an absolute treat with this field.
Yeah, well, obviously, racing these things, even the official supercar races, they're not even this short. So, being 11 laps, it's going to be pretty exciting, I think, with Matt van der Kraan starting on the pole position there with John, not too far behind. So, seeing these guys tussle it out for 11 laps, it should be good.
Absolutely. As we take a look at the full grid, Vanderkraan and Latham on the front row, Dean Logsdale and Wayne Walker right behind them, then Mark Poynton and Anthony Weismer ahead of Jamie Dyke and Lorne McKee sneaking in there, Brian Minogue and David Coleman rounding out the top 10, then Mick Clifton and Chad Varga just outside the top 10 starting on row 6 tonight. Stephen Varga and Jamie McKnight on row 7, followed by Alex Kiedis and Scott McCune, then Troy Sipple and Dylan Sipple. The Sipples lining up next to each other on row 9. James Hardy and Todd Martin, the other two Quantum Racing entries right behind them, so there's going to be a sea of blue and yellow right in the middle of the pack here tonight. Rick Varga and Peter Sattler just behind, then Andrew Johnston and Darren Walden a little further back, followed by Craig Rose and David Logsdale, Scott Gamble, Simon Farrington and Damon Fisher not setting times, and our race control as always provided by Jonathan Hancock, Nathan Allen and Tim Nicol, who will be driving the 24/7 Sim Services safety car this evening if indeed it is needed. Here's hoping that we don't need to bring that one out this evening, because I don't know about you, but 11 laps doesn't seem like a whole lot of time to be spending any time at all behind the bright yellow Mustang GT3 of the 24/7 Sim Services safety car.
Yeah, it's we don't like having the safety cars in general, but being VIR, anything's possible. Obviously my first time being here, I don't know what their safety car rules are, but if it's anything like what I've seen previously, it's going to be an interesting race here. So they're just going through a bit of their pre-race procedure, so we shouldn't be too far away. But yeah, I'm excited for tonight, Jared, just to see if we're going to have a bit of an underdog come through the field, or if these guys are up the front. But I don't know about you, but that top 6 cars there, they're all Mustangs. So that's
there's a definite theme to that. Whether that's and look, ultimately a fixed setup, so everyone here running the same sets. I wonder if perhaps the Mustang is just a little stronger around VAR on this setup. Only time will tell. Still got a long way to go though. 11 laps. It's not a short lap, but it's certainly not one of the longer ones that you get around these iRacing tracks. So this sprint will be over before we know it. We've got about 30 seconds left before the marshals take control. We'll go down to the track and you'll be able to hear those glorious Gen 3 supercars getting started and getting ready to race here. Just a few more seconds for the last of the drivers to join us. We were waiting on Jamie Dyke and Brian McNogue. Jamie Dyke, incidentally, having a bit of a chat to me before the race, just pointing out this is one of his least favourite tracks, so it'll be interesting to see what he can pull out of the hat tonight, starting in 7th. We get ready to go racing as we wait on the stewards. We are all confirmed. Green flag at the back. The lights come up. Vanderkraan, watch for the start here. He'll be looking to get a very, very quick jump. The lights out and Vanderkraan away. A beautiful launch, and immediately Dean Logsdale gets away behind him. John Latham a little slow off the start there. Unfortunately drops back a few spots. Anthony Weismer looking to move up through the field very quickly indeed, as we start out on lap 1 of 11 here in the first race with Alliance Sim Racing. Mark Poynton making his way up through the field, gets past Wayne Walker, then immediately gives a position back as they change sides. We go around through into turn 4, turn 5 at this point, and so far a very, very clean start. There's that gaggle. Oh, someone's off in a big way off the back. That's Andrew Johnston, who has flown off the back end of the field. Manages to get it going, but a bit of damage to the back of that car, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and see whether he manages to get that going. Again, we go back up the front and we start to get through. Here's where the collisions begin. We've got another one. That's Todd Martin off the track in the background. Scott Gamble also getting caught up in that as well. So not a great start for him, but he will get back underway. And as always, an eventful beginning to the ASR evening of racing. With any luck though, we will get away with this without too many issues through lap 1. Generally speaking, these drivers pretty well sorted, Ryan, but with an 11-lap sprint, you don't want to waste any time getting out in front if you can.
No, definitely. That seemed like a very hectic start there. A couple of drivers up a few spots. Looking down here, Dean Logsdale was actually lost for, so he's probably the biggest loser here out of this at the moment. Damon Fisher in 23rd, he's up 8 spots, so yeah, it's quite exciting. Bit unfortunate there for Andrew. Looks like he copped a hit in the back, so unfortunately running off track there, but that's what you get for racing. Sorry, when you race so close with these. So, yes, going to be a quick 11 laps. Sorry, it's going to be a long 11 laps for these guys. And just as I say that, Andrew just makes a big mistake there coming through the back section and runs off track. So, yeah, that's quite an exciting start to this this 11 lap sprint. But yeah, Matt Vanderkraan out in front, as we were saying earlier, and he's got Wayne Walker right on his rear bumper. So he makes a mistake as much as sniff the grass, he's going to lose that first place.
And that's always the danger here at Virginia, isn't it? You can see already the drivers cutting so close on these curbs and plenty of debris getting thrown up. That's all going to be getting dragged onto the track as well, so it's going to make things a lot slipperier as we get around Virginia on lap number 2. But these guys need to take that sort of fine margin to be able to get the pace that they want out of these cars. And you can see the Gen 3s in particular almost lifting off through that roller coaster section there. It's something else, Virginia. It really is. The track layout is almost designed to unweight the car at just about every apex, just for the fun of it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You get that through the roller coaster section too, you know, with having to hit the curbs to try and get the maximum amount of speed there. Then you come over the back and then down the hill, it's like really unsettles the car. You've got to deal with the, yeah, as you said, lifting. But not only that, these cars have absolutely no aero. So in the mix of having a trail brake and stuff like that, it's yeah, probably not the best for these cars, but I suppose that's the best what they do here at Alliance Sim Racing. So yeah, it's going to be fun. But I don't know about you, Jared, but in one of the last updates, they actually got rid of the tree down the back. If you remember the old tree that used to sit down there.
I love that tree.
I love the tree. It was very good going down there and having to miss the corner because you're too busy staring at the tree.
Yeah, a bit of target fixation never hurt anyone in sim racing, at least. As Brian Minogue tries desperately to hold off David Coleman. Coleman goes up the inside into, I guess we'll call it turn 1, it's not really, but Coleman overshoots massively off into the grass, and he's going to have to make up a whole bunch of spots there. You know, 3 laps in, tyres really already starting to go past their peak grip, and when you've only got 11 laps, if you're pushing that hard, that is, of course, the risk you take. Only a reverse top 5 grid, so unfortunately for Coleman back in 15th, the reverse grid is not going to help him for race number 2 unless he really gets a move on. We make our way down through the first of the S's again, and Brian Minogue looks ahead to Dean Logsdale to see if he can reel him in there. Honestly, this section of the track, one of my favourites anywhere in iRacing, just for the shots that we get. You do not see anywhere else just how much Gen 3 supercars move around on track as you do here at Virginia. And we take a look further back. Rick Vigar finds himself out in front of a group of cars, all having some challenges here, you might say. Further ahead, Troy Sipple and Dylan Sipple going through 17th and 18th right now. A bit of a gap back to the regular contestant in this particular battle with Rick Vigar. A little way back, but Damon Fisher up 11 spots in 20th, not too far behind, so he's moving through the pack. We go back up the front though. Vanderkraan hasn't managed to shake Wayne Walker just yet, and Mark Poynton has been getting closer and closer with every turn. I don't know how much longer Vanderkraan's going to be able to hold on to this, or if he is actually just, you know, taking it at the pace he needs to for the moment to try and keep these tyres in the right sort of temperature range. It's so easy to overcook them here.
Yeah, it really is, not even here, just in general with these Gen 3 cars, you know, you lock a brake, fronts, rears, whatever it is, they don't come back to you. Like, if they do, it takes 3, 4, 5 laps, but these tyres definitely have a little tiny window. So fresh here, you know, you'll see the 2 fastest laps probably on, you know, say lap 2 or 3 is Vanderkraan making a little bit of a tail wag there, and Wayne Walker's not letting him go by any means. But not only that, the dirty air here, these cars are absolutely horrendous with the dirty air. So Wayne's having to all manage the gap to Matt. He's also having to manage his fronts, his rears, all of the above too. So yeah, he's definitely playing into that window. But yeah, it's how much these cars move around here at VII. It's pretty crazy. As they come down into this short section here, it really unloads the car. The track's off camber, and you lock a rear by a minuscule amount, and you're off into the grass. So yeah, it can definitely turn your race from good to bad in basically an instant.
It's one of the things to watch here. If you're not familiar with the Gen 3s and you've tuned in, for a start, welcome, good to have you with us. Have a look, particularly just how far the wheels actually move up into the arches of the Gen 3 supercar as they come, particularly down into some of the dips here. It'll give you an idea of just how heavy these things are and how much they do move around on the suspension. The weight distribution these drivers are playing with right throughout any one of these races is unlike just about anything else that you'll find in sim racing. Right now, though, Van der Kraan doing a stellar job of just keeping his times consistent. He's not outpacing either of his drivers. As you can see, Mark Poynton has caught right up to the back of the front too. So this is a three-way battle to first now. We've got a bunch of different packs going on behind them, though. As we take a look back, the battle now for sixth, Jamie Dyke finds himself out in front of an absolute train of cars. He's not got a great deal of space behind him before you start to hit the likes of Dean Logsdale, Brian Minogue, Lon McKee, Mick Clifton's in there as well. So, look, I think Jamie Dyke will be feeling perhaps just a little at risk there if he's not careful. At the moment, though, sticking with John Latham, who put in that phenomenal qualifying performance. Unfortunately, down 3 spots so far, but still maintaining fifth. It's not a bad way to go at the moment. As you see, our battle board updates as Jamie Dyke slowly but surely getting reeled in by Dean Logsdale, who is bringing an absolute horde with him. We take a look a little further back than that, and Stephen Varga, you can see heading up the battle for 11th, and he's got a few names behind him that he needs to watch very closely. Jamie McKnight and David Coleman, the two Fishy Motorsports entries, barely different liveries, but yeah, they'll be filling the mirrors in no time at this rate.
Yeah, there's definitely a car that I don't like having in my mirrors, and it's a Fishy Motorsports car. Those guys girls, they have a very good roster of drivers. They're very quick, and they know how to handle a supercar. I've known even Jamie McKnight as well. I'm not too sure if David Kirby races here as well, but he's also quick. So, they're a very quick team. They bounce off each other quite a lot. David has helped me in the past, same as Jamie. So, good drivers, they help out a lot. But seeing them racing in packs, they're actually very good to race around. So, yeah, it's quite interesting. But Jamie Dyke's actually pushing onto the back of John Latham now too. So, it's if he starts to get any closer there, he'll be pushing up for P5, which will then put him on the pole position for race 2. So still a fair amount of laps to go. Lap 6 of 11. So yeah, it could be interesting come towards the end as these tyres start to drop off. Fuel gets a little bit lighter. The cars will really start to get pretty hairy with these drivers, but awesome battles here, especially these three up the front. They haven't separated within a second of each other all race. So
yeah, it's daylight back to Anthony Weismer in 4th at the moment too. Despite the battling that's going on here, and make no mistake, these guys are absolutely battling the whole way around. This isn't a procession. And yet they've still managed to open up almost 3.5 seconds back to Anthony Weismer. It's absolutely unreal. We take a look a bit further back. We've got Jamie McKnight making the move around the outside of Alex Kiedis. David Coleman now looking up the inside. You're talking about Fishy working in packs. This is exactly what you mean. He's looking here. David Coleman, you can see working with that side draft to just try and extract a little bit of extra pace out of his Camaro to get ahead. And he's right up behind Jamie McKnight as they try for the better line through the turn. The two teammates working, and indeed Alex Kiedis finds himself spun there. I'm not sure who's made contact first. We might go back and take another quick look at that one, because that did not look particularly friendly. That said, probably not a lot in it. It tends to be just the nature of this sort of close racing. We'll go back and we'll take a quick look and see if we can see a little bit better from. Oh yeah, so Kiedis just not allowing the sort of room that he probably needed to there, and unfortunately coming out worse just by nature of his positioning.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he shut the door there on David Coleman, but at the same time, David didn't really have enough overlap coming into that little section. So it's definitely much of a muchness, but that's going to be one for race control to have a look at. So we'll keep an eye on that, see if they rule on that. And unfortunately there for Alex, because he was having a real good battle with those fishy drivers, but you know, he head down, tighten those belts, tighten that helmet back up, and get back on with it, and bounce back for race 2. So, you know, he's got the pace there with a 49.3 in qualifying, so he's not too far off the pace, but yeah, he's got to bounce back there for race 2. But if you see here, Wayne Walker, he takes a really, like, a lot shallower line there than Van der Kroon does, but it kind of, I don't know if it sets him up a little bit better, but Matt really has a bit of a better drive out of the corner there. So Slipstream not really doing much, so it's not, you know, that side draft as well. If he can get up close enough, you can see Wayne takes a bit of a tighter corners than Matt does. So just, I don't know, trail braking a little bit more maybe, or Matt's just trying to open that up, give himself a bit of a run. So very Mark Scaife-esque kind of thing.
Yeah, Wayne Walker is tucked in really calmly and quite comfortably in behind Van der Kroon. This is the thing with Walker. I'm never quite sure just how hard he's pushing, or whether he's just simply sitting there and waiting for his moment. He's a genuinely very, very quick Gen 3 supercar pilot, and we'll stay on board with him because I really do want to get a bit of a view of these cars that make their way through the S's and through that rollercoaster section, because it's the sort of vision that just it helps you understand why Virginia is such a favoured place to come racing. Just a really, really fun track, particularly when you're pushing at the absolute limits like these guys are. And this gives you an idea. You can see just how much the car moves around our gyro camera here on board with Wayne Walker. They are bouncing through every single turn, almost lifting off there over the crest, and sure enough, nothing to it. Just a few minor corrections on the wheel and straight out the other side, and Wayne Walker continues on, maintaining that 4/10 gap to Van der Kroon the whole way through. It's a thing of beauty, it really is.
Yeah, that's what you need with these cars. You don't want too many inputs. You just want to keep it as smooth as you can. But just while we were watching these guys, race control did come over. That's a no further action there between David Coleman and Alex. So a bit unfortunate, but yeah, they ruled that there in NFA. So carry on and play on. So Wayne here, he's so close to Matt here that if he does as much as, you know, gets a little bit sideways out of a corner, he's going to have that overlap there and he's going to make a move there, but he's got to be careful he doesn't lock those rears, because as soon as you lock the rears, you're basically spinning around and you can't really save it.
Absolutely right. As we see John Latham now closing in on the back of Anthony Weismer. So Weismer is at risk here as we come down to turn 1, and this is where the Gen 3 supercars are so hard to make a pass, and you really do have to rely on these braking sections. You can see the defensive line that Anthony's taken there, just giving Latham absolutely no opportunity to get through. He's shut the door long before the corner even opened up, but Latham finds himself with an opportunity up the inside. Weismer managing to stay ahead. I tell you what, there was not much in that one at all.
No, he was really close there for getting that overlap and potentially having that door shut there, and causing probably a bigger issue than what it was. But Weismer currently has the fastest lap of the race too, with a 48.734, with their last laps being in the 49.6s. So you just see how much that tyre drops off. That car just made it look like a very, like a wheelie going over there, those curbs. But yeah, Weismer under all sorts of kind of pressure here from Latham. So interesting to see here. John Latham's actually lost 3 spots from where he started. So down in P5, Weismer's up 2. They're lapping pretty considerable times with each other. But the person they want to be careful of is that little Ford Mustang in their mirrors of Jamie Dyke. So they make a mistake and Jamie's going to be snatching that up and saying thank you very much and driving away.
Looks like we've got another Anzac livery there on Jamie Dyke's fishy Mustang. Good to see this week from these guys. Always appreciate a bit of a themed livery when there are special events going on around the sim racing calendar. We'll hopefully get a bit of a better look at that at some stage. But we'll keep our eyes right now on John Latham, because he's closed it right down. They go side by side down the main straight. And Latham, the better run out of that final turn, sets him up beautifully on the inside. Weisman ducks back in behind, just a little tap of the brakes to make sure that he's out of the way. And all of a sudden, Jamie Dyke right on his tail as well. So Latham gets the drive out of the corner. Jamie Dyke now, a little bit of a wiggle, but he is hard after Anthony Weisman, and he is looking to get that number 5 spot and just snatch it away at the death almost. We've only got about a lap and a half here to go in race number 1. 11 laps goes by so quickly around Virginia. Out in front though, Vanderkraan, Walker and Poynton all still going at it. Only about a half second separating all 3 cars. Again, the whole way around this lap, I'm sure Vanderkraan just got about a foot of air under the front end of that Mustang. That was... I'm going to come back to that, and that is going to be an absolute highlight reel for later on, because that absolutely launched off the top of that curb.
Yeah, you can see how hard they're pushing there. But I was just watching keeping an eye on them. Sorry, through turn 1 on that last lap while we were watching Weisman battling it out with Jamie Dyke there. Wayne actually locked the rear into turn 1, so he was very close to running into the back of Matt. So it was pretty spicy going into turn 1. As you see, Jamie Dyke, he nearly get a bit of a run. He has a bit of a look, but then decides kind of better. So trying to set himself up. I'd say probably turn 1, get a bit of a run here. A little bit slower into the corner, but he can have a bit of a faster exit. So. It's going to be an exciting run to turn 1 here, as we see Jamie Dyke really into the back there of Weisman. And the question is he going to go for a dive here into turn 1? No, he thought better of it. So
he's going to have to make it count soon, though. We're on to the last lap now, and all of a sudden Vanderkraan has put the foot down. He's opened up 7/10 on Walker, so probably just Wayne Walker losing a little time with that lockup you mentioned earlier, but Mark Poynton right on the back of Walker still. We will try and stay with both of these, but you can see the white flag is out, so we are into the final lap of our sprint race. Here are your 3 leaders. Vanderkraan looking reasonably comfortable. Walker's going to have to pull something pretty special here if he does want to close that gap. Vanderkraan, though, has looked so comfortable out in front all race. Again, the front end of that car lifting off.
Wow.
I tell you what, Tim Nicol, I know he's out there. I know he'll be looking at this and rubbing his hands together, because the shots that he's going to be able to pull out of this one are going to be something pretty special, I reckon. Vanderkraan makes his way onto the back straight and maintains that 7/10. Wayne Walker, at this point, I can't see him bringing this one back. It's going to take a bit of an error from Vanderkraan for this to happen, and I don't think we've seen Vanderkraan put a foot wrong all race.
No, that's it, we haven't. Even though he's been under pressure the whole time from Wayne and Mark, he hasn't done a thing wrong. He hasn't missed an apex, he hasn't locked a brake, he hasn't done anything like that. He's actually nearly catched the back mark as he's coming through this last section of corners here to take the checkered flag for race 1 here, and then starting P5 for race 2. But what a showing here by Matt, just to extend his lead a little bit more there over Jamie Dyke.
Absolutely, and look, Jamie Dyke, considering not his favourite track, is still performing really well. So that's Vanderkraan, Walker and Poynton taking the top 3 tonight. They're on the podium. Jamie Dyke just barely missing out, and Anthony Weisman coming across the line ahead of him. Some battles going on further back through the pack. Scott McCune side by side. David Coleman almost losing that, only 0.08 of a second separating Coleman and McCune for 14th and 15th. We've got a bit of a pack going on further back with Farrington, Hardy and Sattler as well, but nothing more to come of that. Scott Gamble, you've got to say, really disadvantaged by that start from the back of the grid, and also the getting caught up in the issues early on. Probably not the race he was hoping for, but will be good to just sort of shake off a few of the cobwebs, I suspect. And we'll wait and see just how it all wraps up. But an awesome finish from Matt Vanderkraan. Can't be upset with that at all, I'm sure, as he makes his way back around. We'll wait for the results to come through from our stewards, but a really, really great way to start the night of racing here. 11 laps of just flat-out sprint. It's something we do pretty often here at Alliance Sim Racing. We do start with those shorter sprint races. I reckon this has actually got to be, though, one of the shortest that we've seen so far in terms of the actual length of that sprint race. So a very, very quick one indeed. How's that for an introduction for you, Mr. Palmer?
No, that was good. Yeah, you were saying a very short race there. It was only just over 20 minutes, so 20 minutes, 8 seconds. So that there, probably a little bit short for your supercar, but that had a whole action-packed, that front pack there, as well as the biggest mover in the pack. So we had Damon Fisher up 13 spots, finishing in 18th. So he's done a very good job there, starting P31, finishing 18. So yeah, he's done a very good job there. But I'm excited for race 2 here, especially with pit stops as well to come into play there. But as you can see, Matt Vanderkraan taking the massive 100 points there in comparison to Jamie Dyke's 81. So taking that, what was 4 points, a little bit more than 4 points after that race 1 here at VIR.
Well, I reckon it's about time to bring him back into the booth for yet another chance to chat to us. Matt Vanderkraan, congratulations on the win in race number 1. I reckon you're probably feeling a little sweaty right now, my friend.
Mate, very sweaty. That was hard work.
No, that was good to watch there. But Wayne and Mark didn't let you take a breath there. They were on your tail the whole time. But that car looks completely on rails through that back roller coaster section, actually lifting the front. So how does it handle through that section?
Yeah, all good, as long as you line it up right and don't try and get too carried away. But you're always heart in your mouth every time you're going through there.
We're going to have some pretty epic shots, I suspect, from Tim Nicol after that one, because we got at least 2 shots of you with those fronts completely off the ground. Reverse grid, obviously, for race 2. So starting in 5th, you're not going to have the clear out in front of you. A couple of pit stops to make as well. Are we seeing a return tonight of the classic Vanderkraan strategy of a pit stop on lap 1, mate, or are we going something a bit different?
Yeah, I think it's a bit risky to go lap 1. Look, I don't know. I can't see lap 1. Maybe, honestly, it's going to be really, really hard. I mean, I was banking then on, if I don't make a mistake in the wrong spot, they can't get past me. Although Wayne had a fairly good crack into turn 1 at one point. So, yeah, I don't know. It's really not the smartest strategy in the world to bloody win race 1 with a reverse grid and race 2 worth more points. But hey, if you're in the front, you're not going to give it up, are you?
No. There's one thing I've come to learn about you over the past couple of seasons, Matt. It's that up front is a pretty comfortable place for you. So I'm not surprised at all to see you doing everything you can to hang on to it, mate. That's really solid race there. Good to see, and hopefully we'll be chatting to you again at the end of race 2. But some work ahead of you yet, mate. So we'll let you go and get prepared, eh?
Cheers, boys. Appreciate it. Have a good call.
Thanks, mate. Good luck.
Matt Vanderkraan there, the winner for race 1, and we take a look at the results further back through the field. Notable results from Anthony Feismer in 5th, Jamie Dyke in 6th, Dean Logsdale still up there in 7th as well. Mark Poynton, though, again, another really strong showing to finish on the podium, so look out for him. He's actually probably got, I reckon it's got to be about the best spot possible. You're starting in 3rd after finishing 3rd with the reverse top 5. The 2 that you've been chasing the whole time are behind you to start off with, and you've got Latham and Feismer ahead of you, and you've just taken them by 4.5 seconds. I reckon Mark Poynton's put himself in a bit of a box seat here for race number 2.
Yeah, definitely. He's probably in one of the best spots, probably to start. Having that gap there from to John Latham in that last race, he was lapping a little bit faster. So if he gets a good start, I reckon he gets out front and then puts in some solid laps, maybe plans out his strategy a bit, he can get it sorted. But I think the one we need to watch for is Jamie Dyke. He's starting right next to Matt Vanderkraan. So they're battling it out in the championship. I'll be expecting some big moves here from Jamie Dyke on Matt. So as long as he keeps him behind and tries to push for that win. So I'll be keeping my eye up. And not only that, David Coleman down there in 14th position. Jamie McKnight as well. Matt Vanderkraan's teammate in Chad Vigar. Will we see someone do a bit of an undercut here, as you were saying to Matt earlier? Lap 1, lap 2, undercut there. Go to say lap 15 or so. Second pit stop. Another set of tyres. Anything's possible here. I haven't really done that kind of stint with 2 pit stops, so it's definitely got to.
It adds a whole other layer from a strategic perspective, doesn't it? And I think you're bang on. The undercut is so strong with the Gen 3s. The only thing that tends to spoil it, of course, is a safety car. And considering how clean most of race 1 was, I reckon we're probably not counting on that at this stage. Certainly, if I was out on track, I wouldn't be expecting to see a safety car. But that said, with 11 laps, you barely feel like you've gotten going as a driver. So they're probably in exactly the right frame of mind to jump straight back into it. And we are getting ready, as we speak, to get everyone back on the grid, ready for race number 2. We'll take another quick look at the grid in just a moment. But yeah, it's always interesting to see just how hard the push is right from lap 1 in these second races, because it really tells you who's in the headspace still from the sprint and who's here to play the strategy game. So we take a look, Anthony Weismer and John Latham lining up on the front row ahead of Mark Point and Wayne Walker, then Matt Vanderkraan and Jamie Dyke, your 2 championship front runners on row number 3. Dean Logsdale and Brian Minogue just behind them, with Lorne McKee and Mick Clifton rounding out the 10 ahead of Stephen Varga and Chad Vigar. We go a little further back in the grid, and Jamie McKnight and David Coleman right there, so the Fisher Motorsports teammates will be into it as well. Scott McCune and Troy Sipple lining up together ahead of Dylan Sipple and Damon Fisher, then Rick Vargar and Simon Farrington. James Hardy and Peter Sattler ahead of Alex Kidas and Scott Gamble. As we move further back through the field, Darren Walden and Todd Martin lining up ahead of Craig Rose and Andrew Johnston, with David Logsdale rounding out the grid for race number 2. Look, 25 laps, 2 compulsory pit stops. It's going to be really interesting to keep an eye on the pit stop times tonight, Ryan, just to see who plays what strategy here. They're going to have to take some fuel at some point to make it through this. But the question will be, does someone try and save a few seconds with their tyre strategy?
Yeah. While you were saying that grid, I was just thinking to myself, I was like, what kind of strategy could you run? Do they take tyres in one stop, fuel in the other, fuel in one, tyres in another, both at the same time? Like, there's so many key things that can play a part in it, as well as your in lap, your out lap. There's absolute phenomenal amount of different things can either go right for you, can go wrong for you as well. Where you pit, will you come out in traffic too? So that's what you really got to play here. VIR, not many paces to pass. I'm predicting probably maybe turn 1 and down the back into the tree. If not, top of the hill after the tree. So yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. So I'm predicting it's going to be a bit of a hectic lap 1 here with that top 5 inverted. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, but we'll see if that safety car comes out, because that then also brings in another play strategy of what do you do there? Do you pit under safety car? Do you not? It's so many things come into play, and being commentators, I guess that's the joys of us. Anyone can play anything, and we just kind of take guesses and stabs. And as myself and Nick Patasso would say, obviously your old co-commentator, we've got to put some monopoly money on some strategies. So yeah, that can be a thing we can speak about later. But yeah, it's going to be good fun, I reckon.
Absolutely it is. We are just about to hand over to the stewards. I noticed Jamie Dykes popped into the YouTube chat. He was so close to getting Anthony Weismer, mate. Yeah, you're back in it now. You're just going to have to work a little bit harder to get him, because he is starting on pole as we line up ready here for race number 2. The stewards happy. We wait for the green flag at the back of the field, but we are just about ready to go racing here for the 25-lap feature race this evening. Round 5 of the VS Supercar Series here with Alliance Sim Racing. Starters orders have come through. We're getting ready to go. The revs come up. Weismer will be looking for a fantastic start here. We have 4 lights, 5 lights, and lights out. We're away. Weismer gets a very, very clean start. Look at Wayne Walker. Immediately jumps through into second place. Absolutely splits Poynton and Latham. That was a phenomenal start as we come down through turn 1, all looking fairly clean so far. A few moves going on. You can see people dropping in and out as they find themselves on the outside of corners, and we try and settle into some kind of a racing rhythm here. But what a start from Wayne Walker, wasting absolutely no time and in fact, he's really just left Matt Vanderkrant for dead. Vanderkrant's down into 9th, so a shocker of a start for him.
Yeah, that's really interesting seeing him down there in 9th. So I wonder what happened here. I might have to take a look back at that start. But yeah, that was a very good start there by Wayne. Absolutely ripped those front cars to shreds there. But John Latham actually dropped as well. He had a very bad start, bogged down and got nowhere. A bit of wheel spin, but yeah, Weisman out here in front, half a second gap to Walker. So it's going to be interesting on what happens here. Do they stay in this pack? As we said earlier, do they stay in the pack? You know, how much time are they going to lose? You know, what? So many things at play. It's just, you know, you can't predict it, and it's just going to be so exciting to watch.
Absolutely. Keep your eye on Scott Gamble in the background after a much cleaner start, already up 3 positions as well. So he's making his way through the field as a bit of a wild card entry. That's not a bad place to be. Jason Douglas, welcome to the chat. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Stephen Varga as well, just battling it out with Mick Clifton in the mid-pack. So there's plenty going on. We're starting to see, you can, as always, you get a couple of really good battle packs going on with these drivers. And Matt Vanderkrant in on lap 1. Look, maybe I've done a bit of subliminal messaging there and planted that idea for him, but he's got in on lap 1, and I reckon with a start like that, he's got no real choice but to play the undercut, does he?
Yeah, well, not only that, he wasn't the only one that went in there. Stephen Varga as well as David Coleman, so they're playing the same thing. Or Coleman overshoots the pit box by a little squidge. But yeah, that's definitely probably the smart play by Matt. While they're bunched up here, use those fresh tyres to his advantage. But look at that there. Simon Farrington's actually come out in front of Matt, so if he catches him, that's going to be a bit interesting with the lap traffic and how he goes there. So keep an eye on when these first lot of pit stops come through and see where they all end up. So it's going to be exciting. But at the moment, Weisman still out in front here, in front of Wayne Walker with points, and not too far behind. Jamie Dyke up into P4 with Logsdale up into P5. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of an exciting one here with Latham, the biggest loser here at the moment, losing 4 spots.
I'll be honest, I saw all those guys diving into pits, and I immediately went searching frantically through our telemetry because I could have sworn someone had had a crash and we'd had a safety car. I wasn't expecting to see that many drivers head for the pits at the end of lap 1. That was huge, and Weisman comes through, makes his way past Mark Poynton, so he's hanging in there. He's not letting Poynton get away with this one, but Wayne Walker taking the opportunity to extend his lead a little further. We're going to have a real battle going on here at the front of this race for a little while yet, I suspect.
Yeah, that actually caught me off guard. I saw the timing. I saw Wayne go to the top, and I wondered what happened, so I had to go back a little bit. But Weisman coming into where the tree would be, ran a little bit wide off camber, and he lost the rear and missed the corner. So Wayne Walker was just like, "Thank you very much," and thought, "I'm just going to take this straight off you."
Darren Walden's had just a bit of a moment very way of the following car, so he's got away with it, but it's cost him a fair few spots. As we see Scott Gamble now making a move up through the field as well, up into 15th, and he has made his way 9 spots higher since the start of this race. Probably assisted a little, I'll admit, by the pit stops going on, but yeah, early pits happening all over the place. Troy Sippel's been in now for his first pit stop. So yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. Just keep watching that tower on the left, because the strategies are going to start to really play out here. That first stop's going to have to be early. But Anthony Weisman right now, I reckon he'd almost be thinking about a pit stop just to get Poynton off his tail.
I would definitely be thinking the same thing, because having Weisman on his tail is probably not exactly ideal. But look at that there. Wayne Walker out front nearly pulled a second on Anthony Weisman in what would be a lap and a half, if that. So he's out in front now, going to set some laps. You know, does that change his race strategy? You know, to try and, you know, we see he's got pace. Last lap 48.9 in comparison to Weisman's 49.9, so that was a big mistake there. But the person we do need to keep an eye on is where Matt Vanderkrant comes out. Last lap 51.7, so yeah, that's going to be interesting to see on how they play out. So yeah, this is definitely exciting. You know, one pit stop fantastic. 2 pit stops, I've got absolutely zero clue.
No, we can't even begin to predict how this is going to end up, because you could time it right around a safety car just by pure chance, and it can completely change how your night goes with these compulsory pit stops. Jason, the season is halfway done, and currently a very, very full roster. But of course, season 5 is almost just around the corner, and of course, the Alliance Sim Racing Endurance Championship round 2 is coming up in June when we head to Sandown for the Sandown 500. So a couple of ways to get involved. Sit tight, I will see if I can get you an invite to the Discord that I can post in the chat for you, and we'll invite you on in to have a bit of a sticky beak and see if it's something you might be interested in getting involved with in a future season. Right now though, these guys are going absolutely hammer and tong. Anthony Weismer, he's not going to hold Mark Poynton off much longer. I reckon the gap there hasn't gone over about 3/10 for the last 2 laps. And at this point, Poynton's he's almost going to be getting frustrated. Just calling out though, Scott Gamble up 12 positions now into 12th. So he's starting to make his way up through the field. I know he's quick, but I wasn't quite expecting him to move that fast up that timing tower.
Yeah, seeing that there up 12 spots, that's pretty crazy. But not only that, Andrew Johnston as well, up 11. But in the midst of that, you've got people doing pit stops. So yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. But if you're Mark Poynton and you're kind of getting a little, held up a little bit here by Weisman, does he make that pit stop call? Does he go in to get out of that? Or he doesn't, he goes past the pits. So yeah,
not this time.
That'd be one thing. Yeah, that'd be one thing that I'd be kind of tossing up as well. Seeing the lap times that he's doing, that he has been able to do.
Who's that off track? That's Darren Walden, has been absolutely sent off the back straight, somehow pulling it up across the grass without going into the wall. I'm not quite sure what happened there. We'll go back and we'll take a look in just a moment. The battle here behind Scott Gamble though, Vigar, Kidas and Fisher swapping positions left, right and centre. So it's not just out in front, we've got battles going on right throughout this pack, as always with ASR. It's what you come to expect here. And we'll keep an eye though on what's happened to Darren Walden. I'm not quite sure how on earth he's ended up out there, but we'll try and get back to that in just a second. Anthony Weismer now dealing with Mark Poynton, continuing to pressure him. We've seen this so many times from Weismer. He's an amazing defensive driver, so just you cannot pressure this guy into a mistake. What is going to be frustrating for Poynton though is that he's clearly got some pace, and whether he's feeling like he's being held up a little bit at this stage. The last lap of 49.09 for Weismer, 49.06 for Poynton, and a 48.87 for Wayne Walker. So the longer these two tussle it out, the further and further ahead Wayne Walker gets his Mustang, and the more opportunity he's got to make the most of that clean air out in front. He's absolutely on a mission at this stage.
Yeah, definitely. Wayne Walker's on a mission there, as you said. Last lap with a 48.8. So he's got what I can see, I think he's got the fastest lap of the race at the moment, with Vanderkran with a 49.9. So that's his fastest lap. So he's not really making the use of those fresh tyres. If he did take them, that's the other thing. So, was it just fuel? Was it tyres? We don't exactly know. But Jamie McKnight in the pits now from the look of things. Same as Scott McCune. So they're taking their pit stop now, getting out of this traffic and seeing how that goes. But yeah, looking back on that Darren Walden incident, that was very, very odd. Looks like he maybe came across on the front of...
there we go.
Yeah. Looks like he slid across on front of David Coleman and was just a bit unlucky. So we'll keep an ear out on what race control rules on that one. But yeah, for now, Wayne Walker's thought, thank you for the first position, boys. I'm going to take it and go. So,
and he absolutely is going. Make no mistake, a second and a half of gap to Anthony Weismer. It doesn't sound like a lot until you recognise just how close these guys usually are racing. He is walking away from the pack here, 6 laps in, and I reckon there'll be some guys that are praying for a safety car just to try and drag him back a little bit. Walker is, you can't allow him to get a full head of steam and some clear air ahead of him like this, because he's just going to continue to move further and further away. That said, this is actually working out really nicely for Jamie Dyke, Dean Logsdale from Team AJR, and good evening as always to Luke Allman joining us in the chat. These guys are all just tucking in at the moment behind this Weismer Poynton battle. and happy to go along for the ride for a little while longer. It's it's a lot going on. A bit further back, and you've got Stephen Varga at the head of a similar train. This one is the battle for 17th, and Vargs, look, he's not used to being this far back in the pack, I'm sure. He's got David Coleman putting pressure on. Have a look at Logsdale going side by side with Farrington there, though, and it looks like after all of that, it might have actually been Mick Clifton, Jamie McKnight, sorry, that's ended up perhaps the worst of that, as McKnight manages to get past Logsdale as they come onto the back straight. It just keeps changing around. It really does. Scott Gamble, just checking with him again, up into 9th now. So up 15 positions. Alex Kiedis behind him, up 13 positions. Again, look, assisted by a few of the pit stops going on, I know. But that's a long way to be moving up so quickly in this race. I don't know whether I'm calling it a bit early, but I reckon he's going to be challenging for one of the top 10 spots at least when all the pit stops are said and done, you'd have to think.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how all these, after the first sort of pit stops play out. But, it's at that point now, where do you look? I was watching on board with Poynton in that last lap. He did have a bit of a sniff there going into the tree.
The tree that's not there anymore.
Yeah, the non-existent tree. Long live the tree, rest in pieces. But yeah, he did have a bit of a sniff there to try and maybe put Weismer off a little bit. But he's just tucked back in behind and sitting there. But while that's all happening there, Wayne Walker's got over a 2-second gap now as we go on a replay here.
Darren Walden is not having a great night tonight, unfortunately.
He's made the same mistake again. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that was definitely a unfortunate one there. We're on here, lap 7 at 25. Cars are getting lighter. Drivers are getting probably a little bit more hungrier. But yeah, as you were saying, Scott Gamble up 15 spots. Alex Kiddis up 13. Andrew Johnson up 15. So, yeah, wow. Weismer ducked into the pits now. So let's wait and see where he comes out. After he's
looking
finished,
to be up around John Latham or Matt Vanderkraan, you think? So around 14th, 15th would be ideal for him.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Vanderkraan's coming off the back stretch now through the last section of corners, so we'll keep an eye on where he comes out in relation to that. Matt didn't really take much advantage of pulling out there as he comes past the Pinnetry Road now. So keep an eye on Weismer where he is, right up the exit of pit lane as he starts to pull out of his box now. Vanderkraan overtakes him there. So yeah, look at that undercut there from Vanderkraan. Yeah. So he's through now, but
that said, Brian Minogue will be right behind him on fresh tyres, as will Anthony Weismer. So give them about a half lap to get some heat in them, and I reckon they'll be closing up very, very quickly behind Matt Vanderkraan. That's what you expect. As soon as you come out of the pits in one of these Gen3 supercars, you are pretty much on for your fastest lap.
Oh, mate, Gen3 supercars, fresh out of the pits, low fuel, new tyres, it feels absolutely amazing. Get to the third lap on those tyres and it feels like a slug.
Oh, look, you can't have everything all the time, I suppose. You've got to have some trade-off here and there.
Yeah, exactly. But, gonna keep it, as you said, got to keep an eye on here. On Weismer as well as Minogue on those fresh tyres as well, so they're going to hunt the back of Vanderkraan. But just up ahead of Vanderkraan, we got Jamie Dyke here on the back of Poynton, just on as he ducks in the pits. So that'll be another one to keep an eye on where he comes out in relation to Vanderkraan as he's coming onto the back straight. So that's going to be very close, I think, when they come out. Jamie Dyke looking back here to the Logsdale, right on the back of them. Sorry, I just got confused then by seeing they we will remember them on there. I did say them by accident.
It's the way it goes, right? It's
always.
when these liveries are so well done, you can't help but be drawn into them. And I know that Dean Logsdale, the team manager, our guys have got a bit of a bonnet livery added as well. So certainly a very strong Anzac theme coming through. You'll love to see it. Jamie Dyke, though, he's got a lot of work to do. Almost 4 seconds to Wayne Walker. You can almost see Wayne Walker out in front, but you've got to look at the very, very far edge of your screen to catch him. Just absolutely
can't get over
monstering that curb. It never gets old watching it, does it? Never gets old.
Oh, I could watch that all the time, but yeah, while we've been looking at this battle, I've just seen Van der Kraan behind Latham, but Mark Boyton's actually come out in front of them, so done well on that first stint while being stuck behind Anthony Weisman there, who's actually lost another position to Lon McKee. So it's going to be interesting to see how this end goes with this second pit stop still in play on lap 9 of 25. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one as McKee just gets swamped
side by side. And Steven Varga comes through at absolute maximum pace. I tell you what, you never discount Vargs. He will come out of nowhere, and no sooner have we seen that than David Coleman is right on Lonsdale as well. It's look, that's not a place I'd be feeling particularly comfortable. The front three all into the pits: Wayne Walker, Jamie Dyke, and Dean Logsdale, which means Scott Gamble, for just a moment, is going to enjoy the lead of this race. And let's see what he can do with some clean air, because this is an opportunity to try and run a bit of an overcut, as has Alex Kidas, who still hasn't come in for his first. But they are just about the last drivers on track, with the exception of David Logsdale back in 23rd, who haven't actually made their first pit stop. Of course, David Logsdale having some issues and some woes earlier on this evening with just a couple of off tracks at the wrong time. We'll go back and take a look at one of the early ones, and it really is just a case of the traction not being there, and a little bit of a tap at a wall, but at the wrong time. It sets you back so far, and there's not a lot you can do. You've just got to get back into it and keep on racing. Lon McKee has a big moment there. A huge wiggle, and that's going to be enough to allow David Coleman through. I don't know if there was anything more in that, but it was a very, very big moment there from McKee, and did an amazing job to hold it together. He's right on Coleman's tail.
Get a bit closer, mate. Wow.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a little bit of red mist there from that pass. We'll have a bit of a look and see if we can see just what happened to have that pass happen there. Just taking a look at that one again, and I don't know. Go back and have a look now. It looks like he's just overcooked it a bit. There might have been a little bit of contact perhaps with Vargs, but David Coleman, just right place, right time, has made the most of it. And as it stands right now, he is up another position as we keep our eye on this battle that's going on all the way back at the moment for 11th. So still a bit to work out ahead of them. Alex Kiedis comes in. Scott Gamble still staying out as we continue our way around. At this point, you've got to think that maybe he is planning what is effectively a one-stop strategy, right? Make a midpoint stop, get your tyres, get your fuel, and then come back in late in the game for a 1 litre top-up, just to satisfy the rules of the compulsory pit stop. You do have to go up on the jacks for it to count as one of your compulsory stops. Look, I don't reckon that's a bad idea at this stage.
Yeah, definitely. It's got some interesting strategies here as David Coleman takes the spot away from Vargs. He runs a little bit deep there, but mate, you don't want to be doing that in front of David Coleman, because he'll just be like shoving his nose in and saying thank you very much, I'll take that, and will actually run away with it, because David Coleman in a supercar is just like spaghetti meatballs. That's, as far as I'm aware, that's all he races, so he definitely must like this thing. But while that was all happening, we had a bit of a report for Jamie Dyke, so I'll just keep an eye on what that was. I think it was something regarding pit exit, so I'll keep an ear out for that. So, but yeah,
big moment. Mick Clifton has got away with that, but Lon McKee, unfortunately, into the wall. This could be our first safety car of the night. We'll have to see if he can get it going again, or if he's actually stuck there. That's not going well. We'll go back and have a look at that and see. Well, he's just run straight into that tire. Well, that's a huge crash, and Mick Clifton very, very lucky to get away with that and not end up copping a bit of damage. Look, at the moment he's in a pretty safe location, but that car is absolutely stranded right now.
Yeah, that's quite interesting to see on what happened there. I think he might have just overcooked it and something happened, but yeah, he's sitting there. It's not really happening. Nothing from race control at the moment. Looks like he's gone back into the pits now. So Scott Gamble's jumped into the pits now, seeing that big 23 or 28 position move now drop down the order. It's probably not what we want to see, but yeah, a bit unfortunate. We do have a post-race investigation for a pit lane violation, so that's going to be interesting to listen to. But while we're on here, Jamie Dyke 3.7 seconds shy of Wayne Walker, so in front at the moment, P2 in comparison to P5 from Vanderkraan. So what points he lost in race 1, at the moment, if he stays there, we may see that gap close back up here at race 2.
Just might, and I suspect we might be about to see, yes indeed, race control calling the safety car. Nathan Allen out in the 24/7 Sim Services safety car. He'll be coming out on track and jumping to the head of this pack. And we'll see if he's there. He goes, just waiting at the pit exit right now for these drivers to make their way around. Wayne Walker, that lead about to dissolve, and this will be everything that Jamie Dyke, Mark Point, and John Latham, Matt Vanderkraan will have been hoping for. Is for a safety car to just bring Walker back in and just reduce that, frankly, ridiculous gap that he's opened up at this stage. Oh, that, who is that? That's was that Alex Kiedis? It is too. Alex Kiedis has had a big issue. Wayne Walker comes in, and we'll see the entire field here, I'm sure, coming in for this second stop.
Yep.
Let's go back and see if we can find out just what happened to Alex Kiedis. A massive off track. As he is just a huge slide at high speed and couldn't do anything to pull that up before hitting the tyre barrier. That is a huge amount of damage. I'm absolutely stunned that engine's still running after a hit like that.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. The engine was still running. He was able to get it back there, but as you said, we do have the safety car out here. With
this is an awkward pit entry. That's who has just entered. That's was that Craig Rose? Craig, that was an interesting approach to the pits there, mate. I don't know that don't know the race control will be too keen on you repeating that one somehow.
Yeah,
there we go. A lot of pit stops going on. Basically, the entire field.
Yeah, okay. That pit entry is not exactly the ideal line for that one, sir. But you know, probably see a drive-through penalty or something of that regard coming his way. So yeah, that was in front of the line of 4 cars. So it's probably not exactly ideal, but. Yeah, we got safety car out in front now. He's sorting out, catching the leaders, and we'll get this all back underway in a few laps' time. We'll have to let the lapped cars go through, and
I want to go back and just have a look while we are under safety car conditions here for just a moment longer. I want to go back and see if we can catch a bit more of Lorne McKee's incident. This is from quite a bit further back in the lap, of course. But it might just give us a bit of a view of what's happened. We'll go to the chopper and just see if they did catch a better view than our cameras that are down at ground level. But just a bit of a wiggle there, and it's not much further down from this point that he just spears off, and I couldn't see anything that should have caused it. You know,
yeah, if anything, it'll be the ripple strip just really unsettling the car, and then it just spat him to the left.
And there it is, just...
Oh, that looks like equipment failure there to me.
That does. Yeah. That's a very, very... I can't see anything that would explain that. I reckon he's had a brief disconnect.
Yeah, a wheel disconnect just been enough. Like
yeah, it's just been enough to absolutely spit him. So really, really unfortunate for Kiedis. He certainly didn't earn that one in my view. That is unfortunately the nature of sim racing sometimes. You know, it's the best you can do is call it the closest that sim racing has to a mechanical failure in one of these cars, right? That's about all you can all you can do with it. Something to call out. Yeah, there you go. Luke Allman confirming a hardware fail, and look out. MC Sim Racing dropping by. That's a wheel disconnect for sure. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. Not wrong at all. That is that's about the most unfortunate wheel disconnect I've seen in a while. Particularly for one that was quite obviously so brief as well. You know, he's not completely disconnected and just plowed into a wall 10 seconds down the track. That 1/2 second of hardware failure at the right time has been enough to absolutely spear him into that tyre barrier, and that's completely ruined his race now. That's got to be frustrating. Equally frustrating, Scott Gamble came in for his pit stop, and the safety car was called not long after that. So he's made his second, but unfortunately finds himself down in 20th. So as always, the safety car gives, the safety car takes away. Right now it is given a massive opportunity to Jamie Dyke, Mark Poynton, John Latham, Dean Logsdale, Matt Vanderkraan. All of those front 5 or 6 drivers behind Wayne Walker. Everyone's made their 2 stops, and it is going to be game on. We're back to a sprint race situation here once this safety car disappears.
Well, yeah, once your safety car disappears, you'll have an 11-lap sprint race. So we go back to race 1 here. So what will Wayne Walker do in this regard? You know, he's got Jamie Dyke behind him, and he's, you know, as everyone knows, Jamie Dyke is no slouch in these cars. So that'll be a interesting there as we see Alex Kiedis on a manually disconnect. So he's actually thrown in the towel, thought I've had enough, and he's parked the car up, and now he's partying in the pits with his team. So I don't know, probably partying in the pits is the right word, but a bit unfortunate as the field's being led around by the safety car here for VIR on lap 14 and 25. So we have notes there, safety car in this lap. So Wayne Walker will have control of the field after the safety car pulls away. So 80 Ks, then it's up to him when the green flag drops to go. So, but in saying that, as I said, Jamie Dyke there, Mark Poynton behind John Latham, and then Dean Logsdale. But down there in 6th place, Matt Vanderkraan. What does he do here? Does he maximum push? You know, what kind of way does he do? Does he wait? Does he push? Does he hope that they, you know, go in, you know, up the back of the other cars in front? But yeah.
This is always the terrifying part, right? The restart after a safety car. It's why we see so many safety cars happen in a row generally, is that everyone gets just a little excited, let's say, by the prospect of making up a couple of positions they perhaps weren't expecting. And yeah, there's always a real risk of further incidents the first lap after a safety car restart. So we'll have to see what it brings, but I reckon at this point, everyone in that top probably 6 or 7 spots are going to be maximum attack as soon as they possibly can. Wayne Walker's going to have to really nail his restart here if he doesn't want to get jumped by the likes of Dyke, Poynton, Latham, Logsdale, even Vanderkraan. You know, if he times it right, might just get enough for a run to really make life difficult for the cars in front. Jamie Dyke, I tell you what, I'm going to call it now. If we end up chatting to him in the booth with the podium spot, I'm going to be really questioning why he was claiming he didn't like this place. Because right now, the performance he's putting in certainly is not that of a driver who doesn't like this. A post-race penalty for car 217 for pit lane etiquette. That's Wayne Walker. So I'm not sure what's happened there. I suspect, though, that that's probably related to the very stringent pit lane rules that are in place here with ASR, where you must use the appropriate pit lane to enter and exit.
Yep.
There's none of this driving down the right-hand side and driving through all the cars deal. So I reckon there's been something happen in the pit lane there that has caught Wayne Walker out with a bit of a post-race penalty. We'll just have to wait and see. I hope that dust is not from the safety car.
No.
We'll keep an eye on it. So we come down, the field gets turned over to Wayne Walker as we wait for the restart. Keep your eye on that gap. Walker starts to go. The rest of the field a little slow to respond, and immediately he starts to open it up. Jamie McKnight, though, right on the back of Vanderkran. They're side by side almost as they come across the start-finish line. So here we go, turn one. What does this have in store for us? Are we actually going to make it through cleanly? Big lockups.
Locked up down the back.
And a big moment. One of the Quantum Racing entries is sideways. That's Stephen Varga has gone sideways in turn one, and he's taken Mick Clifton with him. Whether that'll be enough, it looks like Clifton is back on track. Damon Fisher is back on track. I don't know, though, whether Stephen Varga has managed to recover at this point. It looks like he has gotten it running again up in 17th. That is painful for him to drop so many positions, but safety car restarts, they're not my favourite thing, and that's the exact reason why, I reckon, Ryan.
So safety car restarts have to be a favourite, but also a big pest of mine. I love them, but at the same time I hate them. So they just cause chaos, but they're so good for your race strategy to bring you back into play. But yeah, that
just
massive
fun,
lock-up
let's be honest.
Yeah, they are fun. But yeah, going back to that restart, there were some cars in the back there that had a bit of a rough time. Mick Clifton has a big damage. Copped a hit from the back, the front, started to spin, so he's copped some big damage there. But Brian Minogue down here, Stephen Varga in this battle here with Sipple and Sattler. That's a very rough mood there. For I don't think you want to go too wide through there. That's probably not where you want to do that.
Stephen Varga, knowing what I know about Vargs from the previous occasions I've had to chat with him, if he is not in red mist territory right now, I'll eat my hat. Having that that issue on lap one, I guarantee he is absolutely into it right now.
Got Gamble just in front of him too, right on the tail there of Rick Vigor. Whether he's going to make a dive up here into turn one, that's the question.
Going to be bold
no,
from that far back. Big lock up in the background from Sattler, almost into the back end of Vargs. So plenty going on right throughout. Jamie Dyke up in P2 right now, has Mark Poynton all over his tail.
Big crash there from Scott Gamble and the cars at the back there. He just got into the back
caught
of
up in that as well. Let's go back and see if we can catch what's happened there. It looks like Scott Gamble's run off track initially. Oh, there's a big moment. That's Rick Varga, who's just unfortunately slid back in front of the other cars. And you can see, we'll go back and have a look at it. So Rick gets turned, and excuse me, Scott Gamble just looking to redress, but unfortunately Rick has ended up sliding back, and Troy Sipple, Peter Sattler getting caught up in it there as well. Simon Farrington ending up off track. That's messy. Absolutely messy.
Yeah, looking at that there, looks like Rick didn't hold his brakes on that re-entry, so that's a bit of a one that might get looked at here by race control, because we know how serious people are with not holding brakes on their when they have an incident or they start to spin. So that's going to be a interesting one to look at, as Scott Gamble's got back past him. So we'll leave that up to race control, because it looks like they're going to have a busy set of hands at the end here. As we jump up the front here, Jamie Dyke got Mike Poynton behind him. Leading that battle there is Wayne Walker's on the fastest lap of the 48.208. I did also get word from race control. Wayne used the centre lane down pit lane, so he didn't use the left, he used the centre. So that's where the pit lane etiquette come into play. So that'll be a big post-race penalty there for him. So I think best for him to do now is tighten the belts down and absolutely get a big move on.
Yeah, make the most of that clean air and get as far ahead as you can to minimise the impact of that penalty. Let's go all the way back. Excuse me, folks, all the way back to lap one. Let's have a look at this incident with Varga and Clifton again. And I don't know, it actually looks like Vargs just went too deep on the brakes there. Didn't lock up like the cars around him, but and then Clifton, as he rejoins, just gives him a little bit of a nudge as well. Yeah, probably not what I had in mind, but that is the well, it's not even lap one, sorry, it's the safety car restart. Just feels like lap one when they get back into it. after the safety car.
yeah.
Andrew Johnston now is struggling to hold Peter Sattler. Sattler's got some real pace here. He's pushing ahead, and I do wonder if is it really just one lap fresher tyres, and that's all it takes to open up. Johnston doing everything he can to hang on to the back. We go forward. Anthony Weismer back up into 8th right now. So you talk about a bit of that red mist just helping you along. I reckon that's absolutely what's going on. Stephen Varga has just been issued a black flag, so he'll be serving a drive-through. The question is, what for? You'd have to think it'd be the restart from that safety car.
Yeah, we'll go back and have a listen to that. But biggest mover here is Andrew Johnson up 16 spots. So yeah, that's
it's a solid drive, it really is. It's
failed to hold the brakes there by Stephen Varga on the lap 15, so on the safety car restart.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. So drive through for that one, and we continue. Right now, Anthony Weismer, David Coleman right on his tail as they make their way down into yet again the most fun section of just about any track out there. Honestly, I can't wait to go back and get some highlights of these cars jumping that curb, because every single one of them's done it on just about every lap. We are down to the last 7 laps here, and Wayne Walker not managing to open up perhaps quite as much of a gap as he was hoping for. But have a look at the battle in the background as Mark Poynton gets side by side with, is that John Latham?
Yeah, John Latham, they're up in 4th, so he's not letting these guys go at all. John there is. He's doing a very good job there. But his fastest lap of the race is a 48.3, which is just under a tenth slower than the fast race lap, which is by Wayne Walker at a 48.2. So he's no slouch by any means, but he's not letting them go. Jamie Dyke, Mark Poynton here, they're having a good battle. This is very good to see, but as you said, Wayne Walker not making the most of those tyres. He's actually lost 3 tenths to Jamie Dyke in the last half a lap, so not what he wants at all there. As you can see, as the lap times come up on the totem there, 49.6, 49.1, 49.3, so yeah, that's that 5/10 loss there to Jamie Dyke. So post-race penalty there for that pit lane etiquette. I'm curious to see where that'll drop him down the order, but Vanderkran here, 3 tenths as well, just behind Dean Logsdale. So keep an eye on this battle too, as well. You know, Jamie knows that pit lane, that post-race penalty is coming for Wayne Walker. So at the same time as him, pushing towards Wayne, does he need to really push for that position? Because, what could that post-race penalty entail? That's the question. So Vanderkran here, I'm assuming he's made his second pit stop, so we should see these guys go to the end. So
yeah, this should be all out from here through to the end. About the only thing that's going to ruin our viewing at this stage is another safety car. So if these drivers could kindly keep it on track, I'm really keen to see this play out. Rick
Varga just got the black flag as well too, so
that'll have to be for the brake hold, you'd think, wouldn't it?
Yep, not holding the brakes. That is also another not holding brakes. So real rough there, but as he does that, he does do a big shortcut, so he cops the second penalty for his troubles.
Not what you want at all. Anthony Weismer though, weaving all over the track to try and hold David Coleman. They're going to come together, a little bit of a panel rub there. But as it stands, Weismer just managing to hold Coleman off. Does Coleman have the pace, though, out of the turn with that line? The battle is absolutely on here, and this is for P8. As always, fantastic racing right up and down throughout this field. The question is, what are we watching? And right now, Stephen Varga smashing past Rick Varga as well. So despite that drive-through, he's doing everything he can to make up some spots. He's in 20th right now, so a long way to go to be back in this contest. But
these guys both have drive-throughs, so that's
not going to help him out, that's for sure. Weismer and Coleman just continue to battle this out. Coleman, you've got to say, almost looks a little quicker at the moment, but again, Weismer, absolutely staunch defender when he gets behind the wheel of one of these Gen 3 supercars, and just makes that car so wide on any track. You know, this is a 4 or 5 car width track through sections, and even then, somehow Weissman will always plant that car right in front of where you want to be. It's a joy to watch, and I'd hate to have to race him.
Just actually looking at Weissman through that section, he was actually holding the brakes a little bit to try and put David Coleman off. You know, balk him into the corner, make him have a bit of a slow run there. So, you know, that's definitely a little bit of a cheeky tactic, one that I would do myself, especially with David Coleman behind me. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so coming through that first section, he did tap the brakes a little bit just to slow his car up, give himself a bit of a better run. But David Coleman now has a little bit of a run here, backs out of it, doesn't go too wide through there. Pretty smart decision there by Dave. So good work there. Putting Weissman under pressure here, that's probably the bigger thing that's on David Coleman's radar at the moment. Putting him under pressure, see if Weissman can make a stake and take his position there as we see him running down through the last set of corners. He actually nearly balked Weissman into running wide through the last corner, so that's a bit of an interesting one.
Plenty of mind games going on, and that's what it's all about at this point when the cars are so evenly matched. It's all about the stress and the pressure you can put that other driver under. Coleman going very deep under brakes. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, but it was worth a shot. Didn't quite pan out that time, but again, just both drivers just throwing everything they've got at each other here. And it makes some phenomenal racing. We take a look back up front, and the front three, you see Mark Poynton in the background just having a bit of a moment. Wayne Walker, Jamie Dyke and Mark Poynton all starting to pull away a couple seconds back to John Latham and Dean Logsdale. Matt Vanderkran's in the mix there as well. But
Jamie Dyke had to put the brakes on there as the car started getting real wiggly as that front lifted. So he's lucky he didn't lose that position there to Mark Poynton.
I reckon that has to be just about the closest we will see to an aerodynamic backflip of a car on iRacing is Virginia International Raceway.
Oh, has to be. Oh, Jamie Dyke blinking there. That's what you don't want when you're fighting for a podium spot here. Is we've got Mark Poynton going around the outside. Jamie Dyke deep on the brakes here. Up into this sequence of corners here. Jamie gets that move off. That's a very solid job there in that beautiful Anzac livery.
Shut the door very hard.
That was a very big door open, big door shut there by Jamie. So solid work there, and Jamie's no slouch. So in saying that,
he's got his work cut out for him.
He does, but Wayne Walker's also got a 2-second lead now too, while these two guys have been battling. So that's going to come into play as they're passing a lap car down the main straight. Good work there by from jumping, getting out of the way there. So yeah, this is quite the exciting race here. But as you were saying earlier, 300 points in for the race weekend, as you would say. So 100 points in the first race. Jamie Dykes really closed that gap there to Vanderkran in race 2 here. So this is going to be a big one to watch come the end of these points.
Absolutely will be. Look, Jamie Dyke, he is defending so hard at the moment, and it's not something you'd ordinarily see from him. You know, he tends to be a bit more of an attacking driver. It really does show just how uncomfortable he is with this track, and he's just not his usual composed self. But even in saying that, he's still delivering exactly the sort of defensive performance you'd want to see from a driver in your team. He's holding Mark Poynton off. I've got no idea how, honestly, at this point. He's managing to keep him behind him. But he's doing a great job, and you'll see him cut across and just stay on the inside line a little here. So he goes up the center of the track just to really force Poynton to make a decision and commit to a side. And, of course, Jamie Dyke allowed to move over there, couldn't move back again. That would be a second move. But, again, just makes it impossible to pass. And so Mark Poynton is resigned to yet another sequence of corners, looking at the back end of that Fishy Motorsport car. John Latham now has really closed right up. He was a couple of seconds back not so long ago. All of a sudden, he's joined this party in the battle for second. Logsdale and Matt Vanderkran, you can see, are also getting closer and closer with every corner. At this stage, I don't think anyone's got the pace to reel Wayne Walker in, even if they do get past Jamie Dyke. I don't think Poynton's going to manage that in, 3 laps? That is just a bridge too far. So this is the battle. It's going to be the battle for second place, and it is absolutely heating up to be a cracker of a final couple of laps here.
Yeah, this battle here for P2 is quite interesting, which essentially could potentially be the battle for P1, granted that overhanging penalty for Wayne Walker under a post-race investigation. But don't blink, ladies and gentlemen. We have just on 3 laps remaining here for the feature race at VIR for round 5 here of the Alliance Sim Racing V8 series. This is, I can't get over that. Seeing those cars go through there so close together, with such little aero, that's absolutely phenomenal. You know, it's hard enough getting through this circuit with a car that has a lot of aero, let alone nothing. So, yeah, this don't blink, Jamie, because if you do, you're gonna lose the spot.
Well, as you see, John Latham just stepped the rear out on the exit onto the back straight there, manages to get it under control. Tim Lawson in the chat just asking whether Jamie's intentionally bringing John and Dean in this battle. Look, I don't reckon he is at this point. We've seen the pace from Mark Poynton all night tonight. We know that he's fast. I actually think Jamie Dyke is incredibly heavily invested in the defensive moves that he's putting on here. I don't think he's got the outright pace to take Poynton if they do end up side by side. I think Poynton is just he's the quicker of the two tonight. But none of that matters if you can't actually get past the car in front. As we see Wayne Walker go through a 48.99 on that lap. Jamie Dyke a 49.38, so he's not far off the pace of Walker. But right now, his only job is to finish out these next 2 laps exactly where he is, because again, with that post-race penalty, Wayne Walker may take the win on the provisional results, but Jamie Dyke, he is set to take the #1 points in the post-race wrap-up, and you know, not bad from someone who reckons this is among the bottom 2 tracks in his list. And if I check my notes here from the conversation I had with him earlier, the 2 tracks that he expects to struggle most at this season, right here at Virginia, and also the track that was meant to be on tonight. John Latham getting that front end completely off the ground. The track we were meant to be at tonight, Barber Motorsport Park, next week.
Disgusting.
Yeah, Jamie Dyke, not a fan of that track at all. And,
I don't blame you. I'm with you on that one there, Jamie.
Yeah, like, I mean, if this is the sort of performance he puts on at a track that he doesn't like, then, yeah, Matt Vanderkran's got his work cut out for him for the rest of the season, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know, I definitely favour Jamie on that one. You know, we all have tracks we do like, we don't like. Yeah, Barber Motorsport Park, definitely one that I don't like. Or we see here, Logsdale nearly goes for a move on. Oh, sorry, that's Latham there. Nearly goes for a move there on Mark Poynton. So stuck the nose in, but unfortunately didn't get the move done there. But he was lucky not to spin him. So that's the main thing.
Jamie Dyke will be really happy with that extra pressure on Poynton, though. He'll be very, very thankful, I'm sure, to John Latham, who right now we'll have to think is battling for P3 once post-race penalties and all that are applied. Again, I'm not quite sure what sort of penalty Wayne Walker is going to end up with for the pit lane etiquette, but I expect it will be reasonably significant compared to the gap that he's got. Even at 3 seconds, that's not going to be enough. I expect to overcome that and retain the position 1 points. So Jamie Dyke, Mark Poynton, John Latham, this is the final lap now. If Poynton's got anything else to throw at Jamie Dyke, it needs to happen, and it needs to happen very, very soon. Jamie Dyke accelerates hard through the S's, maintaining that couple of tenths. Let's just see if they can all hold it together one more time over the curb. Massive amount of air underneath those cars. It's I can't think of another track where no matter what wheel you're racing with, it goes that light. It's a feeling, that's for sure.
The only probably other track I would expect it to go that light would be Nürburgring. A couple of weeks ago, I did race at Nürburgring. It was so good. It was so fun in these things. They're absolutely fantastic. When the car's on edge like that, you know, it's scary, but at the same time, it feels so good when you can just get it hooked up here. But you can see Latham right on the back here. Is he going to go for a dive? Got to throw the kitchen
Was
sink
thinking about it.
and whatever's
Big
in the
lockup.
cupboard.
Oh, that's a
no.
massive incident. Points taken Jamie Dyke out. I cannot believe that. Obviously not intentional, but that has changed the complete picture. In the background, Matt Vanderkroon and Jamie Dyke getting caught up together and sliding. That's going to cost them both additional positions. What a mess. The last corner, that's David Coleman coming down the inside of the grass. He goes into his teammate, Jamie Dyke, as they come down to the line. He backs it off a little to make sure Dyke goes ahead. What on earth just happened? What a finish.
I was so stumped. I'm saying someone's going to take a dive up the inside. Next minute we have 7 cars spewing off the track.
That was a huge moment. I don't even know where to start to look back at that one, but we will take a look at it in just a second. As it finishes up, John Latham taking position 2, Dean Logsdale gets himself a position 3 for Team AJR, effectively a P2, you'd have to think, after Wayne Walker's penalty, and Vanderkroon may have just snuck in a post-penalties podium, which is a bit of a mouthful, say that 3 times fast.
Looking back on these replay cameras, that's actually a Mark Poyton mistake there. He's seen the nose there of John Latham, and he's just gone deep under brakes, locked the front, and called see you later.
Let's go back and have a look. It's going to have to go back even further than that. We'll go right back to where John Latham first passes Mark Poyton, and Poyton's just gone completely off track with that one.
Yeah, that was a big lock up there by Mark Poyton. Big mistake there. That's definitely going to come with a penalty. But not only that, that's taken Jamie Dyke off the potential race win. So I would not be happy at all if I was Jamie.
Well, look, just too deep under brakes, nowhere to go. Yep. And Jamie Dyke, he will not be a happy man, because you look at what happens immediately after. Just unfortunately into the side of Vanderkroon. I don't think that was intentional. Just what's happened to Dyke after a little bit of slide. Have a look up the inside though. You've got Mark Poyton and David Coleman off there. Then contact between the two Fishy drivers as they make their way back down the main straight. So David Coleman, of course, backing out to allow Jamie Dyke to continue on the way through. That was... I just don't even know what to make of all of that, honestly. That was one hell of a finish. Yeah,
that's... I'm speechless. What we were calling for a challenge there by Jamie Dyke for a potential race win there turned into a P6. So, wow, that's where does that leave Mark Poyton in that, considering he made a big personal mistake, gone off, hit the tyre wall, take the tyre wall away. Where does that put Mark Poyton? Does it keep going past? But who knows at this point? But from one car locking up turned into like 7 cars off the circuit. So I'm stumped by that. I've got no idea what happened there.
Yeah, I don't even know where we start with that. But I think the only place we can start at this point is to have a bit of a chat to Wayne Walker. Wayne, welcome to the booth once again, mate. That was a very, very interesting finish from our perspective. How did it look in your mirrors?
Yeah, I 1 minute they were sort of, a couple of seconds behind, and then next thing they're back. And I did hear a few things over the radio, so I'm not actually sure what happened. So,
well, look,
it was just good.
It'll be worth looking back at the replay, because it's one that we've just taken about 4 or 5 looks at to try and figure out what on earth happened. For you out in front, though, look, provisional win. We didn't actually catch from race control just how big the penalty was that was looking like coming your way for that pit lane infraction. Do you know what that looks like for you at this stage?
I'm not sure. They said it was going to be investigated after the race.
All right, well, we'll cross our fingers for you, mate. An absolutely epic drive, all the same, regardless of where that does land you for the night. And just absolutely dominating. I introduced Ryan to the broadcast this evening, and said to him, keep an eye on Wayne Walker, because he has pace, and I just appreciate you proving me on the money once again, mate. So a phenomenal race regardless of the penalty outcome. And congratulations on at least the provisional win, if nothing else at this stage, eh?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, before like this week, I've never raced on this track before, so it was good to get up to speed and be able to get the results I did. That was couldn't have asked for anything better, really.
No, that was good. That definitely came from your start there. You had an absolute ripper of a start. I think coming out of P4, you ended up P2, nearly P1 into turn 1. So, no, you did a ripper of a job there getting through. It was solid work, and then the safety car came out. Probably not maybe when you wanted it, but you did what you could, and you had a good end to the race there.
Yeah, thank you. I got good starts in both races. I think I went from 4th to 2nd in both races off the start. So that really helped. Like qualifying, I didn't get a good lap in, so I was starting sort of further back than I wanted to. But having that good start sort of made up for that a little bit.
Take it for what it's worth. Absolutely, Wayne. Congrats again. We hope that the penalty isn't too severe and you still end up with some decent points in the pocket. And look forward to seeing you next week at Barber Motorsport, hey?
Yep, thank you.
Cheers, Wayne. And a solid drive there. We'll go to our P2 driver, John Latham. Welcome to the booth. I don't think we've actually had the opportunity to speak to you much here this season. How on earth did you survive all of that?
I think, to quote the Olympics, I did a Bradbury. So, I was a little bit lucky there. I think I kind of saw it happening, but the door just did open up, and I was just like, oh, I've been on the brakes enough. Because obviously I got a good run down the back straight. I got out of that, the last corner before the back straight, and I got a good run down the straight, and Mark was there, and I was like, oh, I'll stick it in there, might have a chance. So I braked pretty late, and he braked really, really late. And I was just like, I don't think he's going to make the corner. I saw him lock a tyre, and I was like, I'm going to keep braking as much as I can, stay on the pedal. And and he just, unfortunately, looks like he clipped the inside because he had no steering, and took out Jamie, unfortunately. And then, just turned in and, snuck through that little gap and continued on. So, pretty happy with that.
I can absolutely tell you from our couple of reviews of that what Mark Poynton did to that inside tyre wall would not in any universe be described as clipping it. That was a pretty solid hit that absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, on initial when we called it, it actually looked like you tapped him in the rear where the rear cam was. So I thought, you've gone deep on the brakes, tapped him, and he's running to the wall. But as we reviewed it, looks like you've just done the old push him under pressure, and then he made a big mistake. But the other thing is provisional results. Wayne Walker has a penalty hanging over his head. So. Keep it up. Yeah, you may end up with the feature win. So depending on how harsh that penalty is for Wayne, for a pit lane infringement, you never know. You may see yourself on the top step.
Yeah, well, I have to see, but I was pretty happy. Apart from my burnouts on the starts at both races, I was pretty unhappy about that because I even came out and did a practice start in the warm up, and I was like, sweet, got it now. And then I go to the grid for the second race, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting second, same spot again. Let's go again, have a run with Anthony to the first corner, and bake the tyres again. I was just like, what is going on? So I think I'll have to do a bit of practice with that. But apart from that, I'm pretty happy with my equipment now. I've dialed in a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, Windows did a damn update, so I've rocked up, and I thought I got away with it, but no, in the race, when there's traffic around, I got micro stutters, so I have to have a look into that, because my PC's been running beautiful, but it's always the way, isn't it? You get a Microsoft update, and then throws you into the ocean.
Duly noted, not letting mine update anything for the next couple of weeks then. John, an awesome
Although
result,
at least
mate.
it wasn't the same as Lorne McKee's equipment failure. Yeah, that was pretty bad. So.
Oh, did he have a major failure, did he?
You know what? Not a major, but I'm sure you'll catch it in in the replay if you do get to it. Just a stutter at the wrong time, unfortunately, into a tyre barrier, even harder than pointing tonight. So not the best night for a few people, but mate, it's worked out well for you. Congrats again, and I think although the provisional result's not there, I suspect you'll be ending up with the feature race win once all is said and done.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it was good to race. It was good racing from all the guys tonight. It's an enjoyable league. First time I've run it, but some familiar faces out there, and it's good, hard racing. So, and if you ever want to see a really good failure, go back and look at Madison Down on the start line, not putting it into gear here quite a few years ago. That was a classic.
Look, can't say it's something I haven't done myself, mate. We'll let you go and celebrate that one. Well done, and looking forward to hopefully chatting to you again in the not too distant future.
Yeah, cool, guys. Thanks for the broadcast. It's much appreciated. It's always good to go back and have a watch your race and see what unfolded as you were lapping around, sitting in your sim rig with just a view out the window.
Well, make sure you pull up a decent beverage for this one, mate, because it is a cracker of a replay. I can tell you that much. John Latham taking P2 there in the feature race this evening, and last but not least, we've got to bring the Team AJR favourite, because I know that there'll be a couple of people, Luke Ullman especially, who wouldn't be happy if we didn't take an opportunity to just have a chat to Dean Logsdale. Dean, congrats, mate, on surviving the mayhem that was lap number 25 there. How are you feeling post-race?
Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits, actually. I got a bit held up there when John had a slowdown, but we managed to catch the pack again, and then it was just a case of me hoping that they made some mistakes, and obviously they did on the last lap, and worked out in my favour. So first podium on the in the feature race, so well chuffed with that.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure if words come to you yet, but Wayne Walker looking down the barrel of a post-race penalty. You may just pick up an extra spot yet, so don't go getting too attached to that bronze, mate. It may just be a silver, I suspect.
I'll certainly take it, because it happens to all of us where you do something wrong and it gets taken away. But that'd be a shame, to be honest, because Wayne he definitely drove it. He was the best driver today for sure.
Yeah, plenty of pace. That is absolutely for certain. Look, I think enough said about the last lap shenanigans, mate. Your race was pretty consistent right throughout, regardless. You're looking to put on a bit of a late run in the championship here, perhaps.
Oh, I think Matty's just driving consistent. I think you might have it sewn up between him and Jamie, but it could have been a lot better this race, because after the first pit stop I did go straight on the first corner, wasn't concentrating, lost about 5 or 6 seconds. But I'm what did I think? I think I finished third last year, so it'd be good to get back on the podium overall.
Well, still plenty of time, another 5 rounds to go. Awesome drive tonight, Dean. Good to see you back up onto the steps, even at the misfortune of a few others perhaps, and hopefully we get a chance to chat to you again in the next couple of weeks. We'll let you go and celebrate with the team.
All right, appreciate it. So shout out to the AJR boys and you guys, putting on a great show. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Dean. And Dean Logsdale taking provisional P3 there, Ryan, and I suspect it'll be a silver. The only question will be, where does Wayne Walker finish up, because that could make a fair difference to the final points. I've seen Jamie Dyke has dropped by the YouTube chat. He's probably feeling a little less than chuffed with his results this evening, getting caught up in all of that. But we take a look at the top 10 here. Vanderkraan and Dyke not too far separated in the end. Obviously, there's going to be some post-race investigation to be done and some conversations to be had about everything that's just happened in that final couple of turns. But yeah, it's I don't know what sort of impact it's going to end up having on the overall championship. I actually don't think it'll cause that much separation. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, that championship there for Vanderkraan, finishing obviously 2 positions in front of Jamie Dyke, taking another 8 points away from him. So, but he was an innocent bystander in that issue there from Mark Poynton. Unfortunate, but I guess that's racing. You take the good with the bad, but bring the drop round in. It can still be anyone's game. But yeah, as we said earlier, hard luck there for Wayne Walker. what will the penalty be? That's the question. But yeah, he's done an absolute stellar job there. Down here, I think the biggest mover in that race was Scott Gamble. He was up 10 spots. So he done a solid job there, finishing P14. So, yeah, we got, as I said there, Scott Gamble, followed by Peter Sattler, Stephen Varga. Vargas, as you said.
What a rough night.
Yeah,
rough night for Vargas.
Has to be there from him. You know, not the best race in race one. Got caught up in a couple of incidents and then didn't really make any progress. He actually lost 5 spots in that second race. So, bit unfortunate, but he did have that drive-through penalty as well too. So probably wasn't the best for him. Rick Vigar as well with the drive-through too. Damien Fisher, Craig Rose being the first of the lap drivers with David Logsdale, Darren Walden, Lorne McKee with the dropout, Alex Kiddis and Dylan Sipple rounding out the field. So a bit unfortunate for the guys down the back, but you know, that's racing. You take the good with the bad, I guess. And you know, as we said, not exactly the best for some people, but you know, you put the championship standings up here. We've got Matt Vanderkraan on 1383. With Jamie Dyke on 1352, so he's pulled about 25-ish points on Jamie Dyke in
this is
that
of course
round.
All provisional, folks, so
100%.
you know, it's going to be hard to say exactly how this all winds up until we get to your broadcast next week, but based purely on finishing positions, you know what, not insurmountable, and I think that'll be maybe only very small consolation. Yeah, only very small consolation for Jamie Dyke, but you know, anything positive out of that you can take is what you got to look for. Jamie McKnight still in there, Mark Poynton not too far behind. Brian Minogue and Dean Logsdale switch positions there as well. David Coleman up a couple along with Anthony Weismer. Wayne Walker jumping up massively, although again we'll wait and see just what that ends up being at the end of things once that's all looked into, of course. Colin McCune up a couple of spots. Damien Cairns, I don't believe, was racing tonight, nor was Jason Spriggs, so of course they both dropped a couple of positions there, but drop rounds will of course be calculated and we will bring you updated official championship standings at the start of next week. Mark Poynton dropping by in the chat with a huge apology to Jamie Dyke, and mate, I'm sure he does appreciate it. It's one of those things in racing, isn't it? Sometimes it just goes wrong at exactly the right spot to cause the maximum mayhem, and I can't think of a better example than what we've just seen tonight. You know, just about any other track, and that would have been barely worth mentioning. But as it was, a massive change in the finishing order at the end of race 2, and the stewards probably quite a bit to work on there. I don't envy them in the slightest, right?
Nope. With having to do some steward stuff in the past, I don't envy them at all, especially that last lap there, that feature race with everything that happened, you know, plus as well with all the pit lane penalties and all that stuff coming into play. I don't envy them at all. I'll take a sip of my drink for you guys. Simply Coke, because we don't drink on the job here.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely what an introduction to ASR for me, I guess. But that's pretty exciting for VIR. I think I might need to take the supercar for a bit of a lap around here. So yeah, we'll wait and see what those post race penalties have, and as you said, look at the points for next round after all those are applied. So yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting last half of the season here for these drivers. But Vanderkraan for Angry Birds Racing has 2 Fishy Motorsports right behind him, so you don't want to be one messing with those guys, because they'll not only beat you in the points, but they'll beat you on track too.
Absolutely, it's going to be a very, very interesting finish to this season. 5 more rounds to go, but I think for tonight we'll call it a wrap on round 5 of the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercars series. And honestly, what a night of strategy, skill and serious commitment around some of the twists and turns here at Virginia International Raceway. An absolutely phenomenal show put on by all the drivers. So huge thank you to every single one of them out on track, and of course to you watching at home or wherever you might be in the world checking out the racing here tonight. A big thank you to you as well, of course, Ryan, for joining us in the commentary box. It's always a pleasure to share the mic with you, mate. And yeah, look, don't forget, this round has been shuffled up the order, but of course the championship race well and truly heating up as we head towards the back half of the season. So every single one of the races just shuffled back a week from here. We'll be at Barber Motorsports next week instead, as we look to see just what round 6 might bring. From all of us here at Simple Racing Broadcast, though, we keep the broadcast simple. We'll catch you next time. Until then, though, do take care, stay fast, and we will see you out on the virtual track next week. Until then, it is goodbye for now.